Hello, hello, most beautiful stars. Hello, hello. I am Courtney, host of Stars of the Morning Light, and this is Friday, June 5th at noon Eastern Time. I am coming back for y'all with the 2026 predictions from the Akashic and from myself. I was already going to revisit these. I always do in June, right? Because I go out in January. I always revisit them in June. But last Sunday, I was doing a reading for someone and they asked me a question about July. And in order to answer the question about July, I actually had to go back into June because their question was about the Akashic or about the collective. I apologize. So that's what we're doing here, folks. We're revisiting things. How is everybody doing? I am live. So if someone comes in, I might say hello. I might not. I don't know. How are you guys doing? I know I need a nap. I need a nap big time. Um, but I also know that when I'm done here with you all, I am gonna go burn a bunch of stuff. Yay. And remember, folks, all alchemy physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all alchemy. Fire first, water after. That's how it goes. That's how we are baptized through so many things. Alchemy, alchemize. So that's what I'm going to go do. So I hope you also have a great weekend after you receive this message. If you're catching this anytime in June, know that what is going to be said here after I recap things, this is for 2026 for June through mostly November. We did not, for some reason, things kind of stopped being transmitted. Like they didn't give me December, but it's really because December is kind of going to be its own thing. So I see that Lori came in. Good to see you. If you are watching this later, I'm going to try to do a recap. If you want to just zoom past, I would go to, about 17, 20 minutes later into this episode. So to recap, everyone, what was discussed in January actually had been discussed in 2025 and in 2024. It's kind of the same story, just delivered differently, which is so much of what happens here, right? All stories are actually the same story. But in January, when I was covering the 2025 Akashic aspect, I went back and I was reading a lot of the 2024 one as well. 2024 was a mirror image to 2026. Same as 2026 is going to be very mirrored image to 2028. And a lot of folks out there are talking about how this is leading into 2032. I'm not going to talk about 2032 here right now. I'm also not going to talk about what is referenced at Stars of the Morning Light as the Great Crack. That I will finally, beloveds, do a video about the Great Crack. I have been saying that probably now for 3 years that I will do a video about it. I will say that was my own reservation, my own hesitation. For what I would say about it and how to go about that. Think of the Edgar Casey map when referencing like the Great Crack. I am going to do a video about it. And it is on my whiteboard, folks. I wrote it on my whiteboard. So whatever gets on my whiteboard does happen. It does make it. It makes it through all the chaos, makes through all the order, makes through my life. And so once it's on the whiteboard, it happens. Therefore, you will be receiving a video soon, probably within June, about the Great Crack. So, to kind of recap everything, the Akashic and myself have, even though I speak a lot in metaphors, today is not going to be any form of metaphor. Not at all. I'm going to be very plain. Um, we both, the Akashic and myself, have been trying to express that we are entering in, and it is here now, 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 the time of what I refer to as the rise of the native. So, in that context, I'm going to read to everyone, and I believe I posted it on here at Stars of Morning Light, so you can read it as well. Um, the prophecy from Crazy Horse. Upon suffering beyond suffering, the red nation shall rise again, and it shall be a blessing for the sick world, a world filled with broken promises, selfishness, and separations. The world longing for the light again. I see a time of 7 generations when all the colors of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth will become one circle again. In that day, there will be those among the Lakota who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things. And the young whites and the young white ones will come to those of my people and ask for this wisdom. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, I am at that place within me. We shall be as one. Crazy Horse. So, beloveds, I got through that without crying, by the way. So, cheers to me for not starting to just be a ball of mess in front of everybody. I got through it, folks. There is the prophecy of the 7 generations, which is actually it's like a accumulation of a bunch of different prophecies from different tribes, but it all kind of represents this time period. And that is one of the best visions from Crazy Horse. Now, as that started, it said, upon suffering beyond suffering. Upon suffering beyond suffering, the red nation shall rise again, and it shall be a blessing for the sick world. A world filled with broken promises, selfishness, and separations. So, for I don't know how many years now, at least here at YouTube, we have been discussing this. We have been discussing the rise of the native. We have been discussing the Earth poles shift. We have been discussing how we are entering into a whole new time frame, and that the main focus should really be the Earth. That is what we discuss here at Stars of Morning Light. We should be focusing on the SUN and the Earth we stand. The SUN and the Earth that we stand. That is what we should be focusing on. That is what Stars of Morning Light, myself, Courtney, the host, tries to emphasize. So from 2024, 2025, doing this in January of 2026, there was a lot said about different Earth issues. People waking up to a lot of things, the rise of the native, so much stuff. But beloveds, this morning, just this morning, I connected again and I said, hey, give me June through December. And they gave me June through November. December's a whole different ballgame. So we're going to look at what was said in January from the Akashic, what I also then commentaried on a whole separate video, and they are in the description, about the 2 different bridges, the bridges. I used a lot of metaphor in January, and now I'm not able to use the metaphor anymore. I really am going to have to speak very clearly and plainly. And then we're going to talk about what the Akashic said this morning. from June 2026 through November of 2026. So let's go back and look at what the Akashic said for when they gave the report in January of 2026. Sorry, the pages were flipped. All right, beloveds. This is the Akashic Collective reading for 2026. This was given in January. Once again, that video is in the description below, where I also went over what was said in 2025. Beloved beings of Earth, we delight in your arrival into 2026. The course you have chosen can be completed, but you can also choose another. 2026 is open to experiences of all forms of communication with self and the divine. You can, if you so choose, to enter into a completely new experience. All potentials are ready to be established in 2026. Yet the momentum of people's choices will be swift, that they may not notice their instant manifestations are present, resulting in pushing timelines further back. Stay focused on your delight, for what brings you joy is the energetic threads for grander purpose in the future. Today, on any given day in 2026, you have a choice to receive or deny your creation. Fear is what blocks your true sight. Fear of physical safety, emotional harm, and collective downfall is the remnants of fears past due. All is new, all is possible, for there is no such thing as history repeats itself, for you are itself. 2026 will mark the new beginnings that are experiencing fully in the completion of 2028. In romance of oneself, the hive minds, as you call it, either create forced dark magic or liberation from what has been known. Romance is to love oneself completely in higher dignity, as not low vibration self, but rather the highest form of human love. To have such love for oneself in 2026 can create new pathways that are becoming more solidified with each passing day. But to have romance for oneself in fear blocks the circuits that bind each human with another. You are of one accord, you are of one dash cord. I'm going to read that again. Sorry, folks. This is hard to communicate, and I'm going to hold it up to the screen because I typed it correctly. See how I typed it? You are of a dash cord. 1A dash cord. That's how they wanted me to write it. That is what we are. You are of one accord. But self-fear corrodes the connections and breaks the flow. Stay clear of your fears and misredirections of focus, because the infinite is so connected to your one accord. Be wise. Be of fresh breath. Be of accord. By choosing oneself in healthy sustainability and healthy substantial higher love. For when you love yourself completely without the social norms, you create newness for self and others to begin the process of experiencing the true love of connection. That's it, folks. That's what they talked about. So, lots of talk about, hey, love yourself, love yourself, love yourself, trust yourself. We're starting anew. We're starting anew. You can't take all that brokenness with you. You can't take it with you. Please understand there is no separation. There is no separation. It's interesting because they did also say, where's that part about it's lately too, I have been talking about the energetic cords or threads, right? And that's pretty much what everything is just an energetic thread, especially your potentials, right? I've done videos about this that what the Akashic really is, it's the 0 point of creation where all potentialities exist. And they're just these threads of energy, just threads that at any time you can just pull it into your sphere and go, yep, that's what I want. That's what we're doing. Da da da. And they say that. They say, stay focused on your delight. For what brings you joy is the energetic threads for grander purpose in the future. Oh, in romance of oneself, the hive minds, as you call it, either create forced dark magic or liberation from what has been known. I'm going back and reading that again because what was given today, they talk about black magic twice. Twice. And I love how they're putting words together in a way that we don't put together. Stay clear of your fears and miss dash redirections. Hmm. Hmm. So in January, we talked a lot about the oneness, the connection, the unity, but it does start with the self. When you fully truly love and trust yourself, that is when the totality of the one, the totality of the all can really start being acknowledged within. And that's what they're trying to say here. And the reason we're revisiting this in June is because um it is time to acknowledge that for yourself, the love and trust of yourself, because we're fixing to get into a time frame where the self hopefully is not present too much. That's what I'm hoping. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out though, right? I'm going to talk briefly about what I had talked about prediction wise. I did the reading for the collective from the Akashic, I presented that. Link is below. And then I did a separate one, just myself. So Stars of Morning Light predictions. And I talked about, I used a metaphor of a bridge. But if you actually go back and listen, I also was not just talking in metaphor, I was also talking physical. Like, if you actually listen to it, there's a pocket of time that I go, yeah, I literally watched the bridge fall into the water. And then I just kept talking. Most of the time, I try to give messages through metaphor because, easy does it, right? And I invite people to read between the lines, hear between the lines here at Stars of Morning Light. Like I said, today I'm not going to necessarily do that. That video was a grand amount of metaphor, but I was also talking very physical. Um, but this idea of two bridges and this idea of you've been driving this bridge, doing this bridge every single day, back and forth to work. This is how you get the groceries on the table. This is how you live life. This is how you live life. And you start to notice that this bridge is crumbling and crumbling and crumbling. It is not necessarily our job to build a new bridge right there, to build off of the old. Because if something, it is a universal law, everyone. This applies to individual aspects, collective aspects, uh, the totality of things aspects, the allness aspects. So it's a law that if something is taken away, if something has dissolved into itself, if something has, which I will tell you, the scene loved the term dissolve into itself. Um, if if something has dissolved, if something has broken away, if something has crumbled away, if something has sunk, if something has disappeared, if something was completely taken out, it has to be replaced with something else. And if it's not by choice and by new collective, individual, collective choice, oh, something will be in its place regardless. That is the law. When something is taken away, something is put in its place. It's a part of that cycle. It's a part of the regeneration of what we do and who we are. So, what we've always done, though, beloveds, is that we try to build and fix what is already present. And that is what my message was mostly about in January was, hey, why are we doing that? Why are we trying to build upon, fix, or build a new that looks exactly like the old, when it don't work? It doesn't work. So when we see bridges collapsing, metaphorically, physically, when we see these things, it's not really necessarily we need to build anew or fix what is there. It is, or we, it's not necessarily to build the same concept. It is to build a whole new thing. And a whole new thing might look like a very different path. It might look like you need to really understand and anticipate and utilize teamwork. It might be that we really come to understand that we are all together here on this earth. So I just recently today put out a short because I was thinking about recording right now. And it is interesting to me that we are in 2026, and when people hear the word expansion, they still tend to bring that into themselves in reference to themselves, which is fine. Learn, grow, adapt, change, expand your horizons of your awareness, right? That's beautiful. But don't cap yourself off there because it's not even about you. It's not even about you. It's not. So you are, it's, you're not just a single drop in the ocean. You are the ocean. But in order to see and experience and witness and be a part of the ocean, you have to dissolve the drop. So it ain't even about you, man. But anyways, it blows my mind. The reason why I say it blows my mind is because we literally just lived through something in the age of technology where we are all connected across this globe, communication wise, social media wise, awareness wise, in that form. We then just went through a massive pandemic that went across the whole entire globe. How did those things, those two coming together, not help us fully understand how grandly which is not a word, how greatly we are connected. How there is zero separation from you, me. I don't care if you're across the pond, if you're way down yonder, if you're way up north, it it doesn't matter. How did those two things happen simultaneously and everybody's still thinking that it's just them? That it's just them and their tribe, their kids, their family, their this, their house, their land. How, or even we, how are we still at the we? How is your tribe, your family, how is it separated from anybody else? So that is mind-boggling to me that we actually physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually lived through something that that's what it could have taught us. That's what, if you need to still learn that there's no separation, that's what that was. That's what that was. And what was fascinating also about that virus was that it was in the air. It was it didn't judge who it was gonna attack. You didn't have to actually have contact. You didn't have to, it was just present. It was just flowing. That energy was just flowing across the board. How is it any different from what an individual does? How is it any different as to what an individual does as to that energy that they just did, that they put out, that they're thinking, feeling, and doing? How does that not ripple throughout as well? It's the same jazz, man. It's all the same song. It's all the same story. So, that's why it's mind-boggling to me, is how do we constantly revert back to self? How do we constantly do that? So, that's a whole lot of what I was talking about in January, that this is gonna require for us to build an entire new bridge because everything will be collapsing. So, unity, as like Crazy Horse talked about. Authentic, true unity. Not a disguise. Not a, "Hey, I love hanging out with people." Not a, "I show up on Sunday." Not a, "Yeah, I do some charity work here and there." Not a, "I'm a he I'm working as a healer and I'm helping others, but really the bottom line is all about I got put food on the table." None of that. I am literally talking about unity that is authentic to humans. It is in our birthright. It is authentic to us. We got it. We just lost it for a very long time. A very long time. And here's the deal, folks. 2026 is opening. It's opening to a lot of things that is going to be restored. And those who don't want to restore unity, well, I don't know. Maybe that's when the South would say, "Bless your heart." That's all I gotta say about that, is that I love you. It's gonna be very difficult if you are not ready for unity and you are still in the mine, me, we. It is going to be very difficult. So, let's hear what they said this morning. Oh my goodness. And beloveds, it's not like I'm not sincere and understanding as in what the human struggle is, especially right now. I know. I know what the human struggle is. But I also know that that is the opposite of who we are. I know that we can instantaneously manifest. What did they say in January? I know that we can instantaneously manifest. I also know that the concept of money is ridiculous, just in logic, but also in the spiritual, also in the physical. I mean, I know what we go through, but just logic, speaking for the United States, which the whole lot of the rest of this is going to be about the states, by the way. Um, just logically, we are how much trillions of dollars in debt? If there is that much debt in the world, that means there is no such thing as money. Please logically understand that. Very hard. It's very hard to know that what mine is yours and what's yours is mine. It's very hard to understand that if unity is actually present, no one suffers. And because we don't live that way, because like how Crazy Horse said, a very sick world full of broken promises, selfishness, and separations. Because we live in a world of that. Well, I'm fixing to tell you that the earth, she's going to help us understand. The thing they even said it in January. We have what we need if we just acknowledge who we are. The all potentials are ready to be established in 2026. Yet, the momentum of people's choices will be swift, that they may not notice their instant manifestations are present, resulting in pushing timelines further back. People still do not acknowledge that they are manifesting instantaneously. They are. And this is why they're not changing their mindsets. This is why they're not clearing their minds. They're still living in fear. Well, if your mind is full of fear, you're going to keep receiving fear. They're not acknowledging the power that they hold. We're limitless beings. We're limitless beings that have zero separation. The thread of love that runs through me is a thread of love that runs through you. If you are part of creation, you have that thread running through you. That is how we are all connected. You cannot have creation without the thread of love. What puts it together, makes it a form, is hope and action. But throughout all of creation, even the darkness, even the underbelly, even what people would refer to as like hell aspects, the dark aspects, that still has the thread of love in it. It's wild. It is what circulates and moves through everything. There is no separation. So let's read what they gave me this morning. June 2026 through like November, like I said. Beloved humans of Earth, for the bell tolls. You have one choice left. Will you concede to your fears or stand together in grace, protection, commonality, and survival dash merriment? And beloveds, I will read that again because I even paused and I said, is that how you really want me to write that? And they said, oh, yes. Survival dash merriment. So I'll read it again. We focus on what brings us delight. We focus on that there is no separation. Merriment. All right. I'm going to just start again. I did want to break there. And at one point towards the middle of this, they reference she. They do mean the earth. Beloved humans of earth, for the bell tolls. You have one choice left. Will you concede to your fears or stand together in grace, protection, commonality, and survival dash merriment? June 2026, as stated before, is the opening of the great crack. You will awaken to the desires of the earth and cast out any self-doubt of the needs of the people. The natives foretold you. We told you. It is time to no longer reflect, but to come together as one. June is the beginning of the completion of transformation. Yours is not of your own. That is black magic. Yours is of all, the earth, the sky, the divine, and most of all, each other's. You are not separated. That is black magic. After June's hit, and all see the power she holds, the earth. After June hits, and all see the power she holds, new realizations of what truly matters will be known. Now is the time to not be on the fence of selfishness. Humans have developed selfishness since the last flood, but awareness of now can transfix the illusion of separatism. June the hit, July the beacon, August the remorse, September the floods, October the crash, November the beginning of the authentic fall of power. You have a choice to fear or to mend your broken heart. How can you be broken when you are part of everything mighty and known? Choose your path of righteousness now. For the people, for the earth, for the source of light is the most power of all. Let go, be you, stand without hesitation or boundaries. All right, folks, that's what they said. And I did clarify, because we're going to go through this now. And I did get more words when they started listing the months there. Yeah, we'll talk about it. So now you guys might see where, Crazy Horse opens with upon the greatest suffering and even more suffering. And when you look at the actual prophecies of like the 7 generations of a bunch of different natives, tribes and leaders, what have you, chiefs, it all talks about, yeah, and the earth is going to bring us back to who we are. So all this other stuff, all this political bleh, all this political stuff that goes on, all this us versus them, all this North versus South, us versus them, political madness, red versus, I almost said white, but I mean, blue versus red. I don't know. I'm talking about the states here, and see, I don't even pay attention. All of the stuff, no matter what continent you're on, what country you're on, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. Miss dash redirections. The earth is fixing to tell us exactly what we're supposed to be focusing on. And that is what the natives have always said. Always said. She will tell us. And it is the flip of the poles. So this would be natural. But here's the difference. We have been extremely selfish. That black magic, woo, it's got a number on us. It is the only way we know how to operate. It is the only way we know how to operate for some reason. From our social structures, our business structures, our religious structures, our education structures, our community structures, our financial structures, our home, it doesn't matter. W The selfishness has put us into this box that we don't know any different. We cannot think outside it. When in January, I was desperately telling everybody, love yourself, trust yourself, and know that we're going to have to build a whole new bridge, not based on the last bridges, not based on all the stuff that has crumbled. And yes, I'm still talking in metaphor kind of here, but I won't here in a moment. So, the magnitude of selfishness is going to be what is um, cleansed of the earth, the sick world. That huge amount of cleansing that the earth is going to have to do for us because apparently we can't do for ourselves. We're the most selfish beings, but yet to do the greatest thing we could ever do for ourselves and dissolve the self, dissolve the I, we won't do for ourselves. So it's fascinating. It's fascinating. We can't expand outside the self. It's all about that still. No, that's fixing to change. So let's get in it. Beloved humans of Earth, for the bell tolls. You have one choice left. Will you concede to your fears or stand together in grace, protection, commonality, and survival dash merriment? So, when something says "for the bell tolls," that's pretty mighty. We listen. We have one choice left, which will be made for us if we make it or not. That's what I'm trying to say. It will be pushed upon us. The choice will be pushed upon everyone. Will you concede to your fears? And that concede there means please acknowledge them. Will you acknowledge how fearful and broken and sick the I is? Right? Will you at least acknowledge that you are being misguided, misdirected all over the place based on your fears? Just concede to that because if you don't acknowledge it and you keep putting it into denial, and it's a huge magnitude of fears, it for most humans walking the planet, 98%. I actually have a statistic on it. 98% of all humans walking the planet, their fears are what makes their decisions, does the communication, uh, all of it. So wow, we're not even acknowledging the depths of those fears. Or and those fears are what keep the separation intact. It really is. That's all it is. It's black magic. That's all it is. Sloppy black magic, if you ask me, you know. But it keeps us insane, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's wild. Will you concede to your fears or stand together in grace, protection, commonality, and survival dash merriment? So, will we stand together? That's going to be your choice. It's always a choice. It's always a choice. In grace, which is always present, grace gives us the freedom and the allowance to choose. Oh, grace gives us that. So that's why it's listed first, that we have a choice. Will we stand together? In grace, protection. That protection is not really so much to our fellow man. It is, there's going to be a lot going on. Commonality. Literally, we're all human. We're all living in the same areas. We're all living the same way. I mean, most people live the same way. We all put our pants on. We all go to the bathroom in the morning. We all eat. I mean, commonalities, human basic things. And survival dash merriment. When we are in more of a survival mode, which, we'll all wake up one day and feel that way. We can choose to survive in fear, which a lot of mistakes are made that way. We can choose to survive in fear or dash merriment because we're actually coming together. Finally, finally, can we rejoice in the coming together, the unity? Big difference. June 2026, as stated before, so go back to a lot of the readings, is the opening of the Great Crack. As I promised, folks, I will do a video this month about that. You will awaken to the desires of the earth and cast out any self-doubt of the needs of the people. Beloveds, this line is so powerful. I'm going to read it again. This line, when they started in here, I went, oh, game on. All right, let's go. You will awaken to the desires of the earth and cast out any self-doubt of the needs of the people. First of all, we are going to wake up one day towards the end of June, and we are all going to witness stuff that happened throughout the night and the early mornings. The end of June, especially on the West Coast of the United States. I'm saying to everyone right now, the patrons of Stars of the Morning Light are going to receive a whole lot more detail this weekend. Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. You can sign up if you want. The link is somewhere in the midst here to Stars of the Morning Light on Patreon. They are going to get the black and white facts, the black and white stuff. West Coast people. West Coast folks. Towards the end of June, the whole world, we're going to be waking up to witness some stuff. So we're going to wake up. You will awaken to the desires of the earth. She is going to be doing stuff, especially the West Coast and like the southern part of the West Coast. And it will be a ripple effect. She will be screaming. We're going to wake up and say, whoa, oh, we should just be paying attention to her the whole time. Because look what she can do. And cast out any self-doubt of the needs of the people. And when they wrote it that way, I went, oh my goodness, that's exactly what stops us. That's exactly what stops us from helping one another, for showing up for another, for living and being the embodiment, the complete emergence, the complete embodiment of the unity that is what being a human is. What stops that? The self-doubt. I beloveds, yeah, when they had me write that, I went, "Oh my goodness, that's the key. That's the main blocker." It's not even so much the fears. I mean, please, let's lay down the fears. Trust, trust, trust. It's the self-doubt. So what I'm saying is there's going to be stuff that happens in the next few months that are going to be so big that even if you have self-doubt, it's going to be override. Something bigger than you, the I, is going to override your self-doubt that prevents you from helping another in the first place. That's wonderful. Because once you actually step out of the self-doubt, you can start to drink in the self-love and trust. And then you can start to acknowledge you're limitless. So, you will awaken to the desires of the earth and cast out any self-doubt of the needs of the people. The natives foretold you, meaning all the prophecies. They talk about how this is going to what is going to be happening in the earth, from the earthquakes to the volcanoes to the fire to the storms to the floods. They've all talked about it. The shifts of the poles to cleanse the selfishness. The natives foretold you. We told you. And they do mean here at Stars of the Morning Light, by the way. It is time to no longer reflect, but to come together as one. What they mean is kind of how I opened it. Uh, would I give anything for every human on this planet to acknowledge, accept, know, and trust themselves entirely through the abundance of love that you can have for oneself? I would give anything for all that. Do I see that happening without some outside influencing kind of forcing that on folks? No, I don't see that. And that's what they're talking about. We're headed into a time of like, hey, self-reflection, the grand amount of healing, all this and that, which I really, this is for me as a human, I strongly think that it's needed, and I do it for myself and I help others and this and that. Beautiful, great. There's going to come a time. It's time. No longer no it's time to no longer reflect, but to come together as one. And I talked a lot about this recently and in January of like that whole being on the fence thing. At some point, more recent, more coming, right? More of the current. Sorry, but this is not to um, not be supportive. I mean, I'm really supporting people. This is not to diminish the healing that still needs to happen within folks. This is to not diminish the traumas that have happened. This is to not diminish anything. The difference though is we're at a time now that we don't have that kind of time for you to keep going through all the layers and layers and layers and layers. The last big push of that was this past spring, from February through June, and we are now in June. The last big push of like, let's get through all those layers of healing was really, we just went through it. We are headed into what has happened in the past. It has no correlation, reflection, attachment to the decisions and choices we make in the present. So if you want to be healthy, if you want to make right decisions, if you want to love yourself and everyone else, if you want to trust yourself and everyone else, if you want to be a part of the whole for the greater good, all that jazz, we're at a time that we're just going to have to lay down all the healing because action is required. Togetherness is required. We are going to be completely on the same playing field and it quote unquote. So the past is like non-existent. We're building new bridges completely. Metaphorically, spiritually, mentally, physically. So, I hope that everybody has healed in great many ways. But that's what I mean by that. Whatever has gone on in the past, whatever you think you identify as or identify with, or whatever victim mentality is still present, whatever healing, uh, all of that healing that is needed, all of that. We're kind of at that time now that um, none of that's actually going to matter. Because the true essence of who you are, the authentic human that you are, the birthright of a limitless being, that's what's going to show up. The instantaneous memory of how to make this happen, how to help one another. The instantaneous awareness of, oh yeah, we've already lived through this. We know what we're doing. The instantaneous awareness, the instantaneous trusting of self, the instantaneous manifestations. That is what's going to be present. Now, still up to you. You can deny or you can grab hold of the ultimate creation that is you. But I will tell you, all that stuff that has happened that has caused us to be so self-focused, that's not a part of who you really are as in creation. That's the layers of deceit, the broken promises of this world. So, it is time to no longer reflect, but to come together as one. June is the beginning of the completion of transformation. So it says just the beginning, beloveds. June is the beginning of the completion of transformation. Yours is not of your own. That is black magic. And that's so this past winter, I started trying to, I can't even, it's hard to explain this to people. When I start talking about the illusion of the illusion of the illusion, and I went, you ever just sit outside your house or your apartment or sit in your car and realize this car is a part of my illusion? This house is a part of the illusion, right? This job is part of the illusion. Everything's part of the illusion. The illusion of the illusion of the illusion. Yours is not of your own. That is black magic. Yours is of all. The earth, the sky, the divine, and most of all, each other's. You are not separated. That is black magic. As above, so below, as below, so above. As within, so without. Instantaneous manifestation, no doubt. After June hits, and all see the power she holds, the earth, new realizations of what truly matters will be known. Now is the time to not be on the fence of selfishness. That I will say is what I reference to, not just on Sunday mornings, not just that random phone call, not just to a few coworkers, not just to it's like we pick and choose when we're going to not be selfish and care about another being. And I right now, I can hear a whole lot of people out there go, "Oh, no, I'm always thinking about others. I actually put myself on the back burner all the time." Okay, martyr. Okay, martyr. We keep being on the fence of selfishness because any form of thought that is I, that is not connected to the all, that's selfishness. Anything that is I, we, all of that is not a connected thought of the totality. The as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without. There is no separation. That is the selfishness they're talking about here. Now is not the time to not now is the time to not be on the fence of selfishness. Humans have developed selfishness since the last flood, but the awareness of now can transfix the illusion of separatism. Now that's cool. June, the hit. And so I'm going to tell you when I went back and got clarity, I just wrote down a few words or what that means. June, the hit, earthquakes. Like I said, the patrons of Stars of the Morning Light are going to get a lot more detail. July, the beacon, people as one. August, the remorse, regret of selfishness. I mean, we're all gonna wake up and go, "Holy God, I do nothing but live for myself," which is awesome. I can't wait until that acknowledgement, and apparently August is going to you're gonna feel the regret, the remorse the remorse of that, the regret of selfishness. So, beloveds, hear me out with that. That actually, when they had me write that, they said, "August, the remorse," and I'm like, "Remorse? That's odd." I didn't know that was gonna be in the mix. But then when I was asking for more detail and they said regret of selfishness, that actually makes sense for me. If we're gonna start witnessing things and people are gonna have to start pulling together and we're gonna have to build all anew in many various ways, um, when we get to August energy, the lion heart, that actually makes sense because the beautiful actual nature of Leo, uh, a sick Leo, an unhealthy Leo, a selfish Leo is always going to be very boisterous, drama, this, that, me, right? But a healthy Leo that has the courage, that has the power, that is the SUN in representation, an authentic, healthy Leo energy is that energy that is thinking about all, that is thinking about all, constantly thinking about how to do this for the all. That's why on the opposite side of that scale is Aquarius, which we all know that Aquarius is the unity. Well, Leo on the opposite end of that is the courage and the thoughts on how do you make this an action plan, right? How do you get this going? So, and deep, deep care on both sides, deep, deep care. But the Leo, because it is the sun, it's got more passion and it's got a bit more care. Let's say it's that lion heart. It's that beautiful lion heart. So, when Aquarius might be a little bit more logical, right? The Leo is there to bring the warmth into it and really, no, let's care about all the people, not just in a logical, functional way. Let's figure out how to do this for everybody, the action plan for everybody, thinking about their needs, cares, disabilities, capabilities, all of it. So, when we get to August and it says remorse, that actually made a lot of sense to me, the regret of selfishness. Because a healthy Leo, that is one thing they are not. They are not selfish in that regard, thinking about the people. So, and I'm not just speaking for myself, I am a Leo, but I'm talking about healthy Leos. I've known plenty of healthy Leos. So, that makes sense, but that is on a collective scale. So, June the hit, earthquakes. That could be one very large one, or from or like a ripple effect. July the beacon, people as one. We're going to witness what we can get done and accomplish and what it really means to come together. What really matters. Remember they said just above, after June hits and all see the power she holds, the earth, new realizations of what truly matters will be known. August, the remorse. September, the floods. And I went, okay. And they went, yeah, the waters, Courtney. And I went, okay. That, beloveds, that could be heavy storms of all sorts. That could also be, I mean, we just experienced a whole bunch of rippled or one very mighty earthquake. Well, water, water, water. Hey, water. And I will tell you, the new earth, as people want to refer to it as, the new earth, a whole lot more water. A whole lot more water. I mean, think of the Edgar Casey map. I am not saying that that is happening exactly right now. Remember, June is the beginning. The beginning. But yeah, waters. I'm seeing a lot of storms, a lot of different kind of storms. And it's because of these plates shifting. I mean, we're in it, folks. The poles are doing their flippy floppy, and we've done this before. We can get through, but we have to remember who we are as an authentic human body, not just your body, the entire humanity. October, the crash. And I was like, crash? What is that? What? And they showed me like an airplane or something like that. And I went, oh, is this like scary stuff, the WAR word, scary stuff. And they were like, no, would you just look, Courtney? That's what they said. They said, just look at what we're showing you. It was like a plane going down, some kind of plane crash. But here's the thing, it has some kind of diplomats on it, political people. That's what I'm going to use the word. They use the word diplomats. And they said there will be diplomats on that plane. And I was like, oh. Which we don't use that term too much here in the States, but that term can be used worldwide to represent any political people. November, the beginning of the authentic fall of power. So take that all into account. Stuff is going to go down towards the end of June. July, people are going to be coming together, if they like it or not. If you're aware of how you actually care for another being outside of yourself more, August, the remorse of realizing how selfish we are, especially in representation to the earth. We just take and take and take and take, and we're going to wake up one day and she's going to show us exactly how selfish we are and how she is way bigger than us and way more mightier. Oh, that's so funny. I mean, we are mighty, but you get what I'm saying. I'm being facetious there. August, the remorse. September, the floods. October, the crash. November, the beginning of the authentic fall of power. That means our institutions, our governments, people are, because of all that we're going to go through as individuals, as a collective, especially here in the States, folks. But what happens here happens to y'all. There is no separation. What happens here happens out there. No separation. Across all the seas and all the lands, there is no separation between man. Zero. So when I asked them, I said, okay, can you give me a little bit on that? They said, "Lear- um, it says leaving or no, living. Sorry, my handwriting, it's very scribbled there. Living outside what is required. So, November, the beginning of the authentic fall of power. What does that represent for us collective body? Living outside what is required. Yeah, there goes them social norms. There goes listening to really any part of the government. There goes this and that. It is we're helping one another. If we got food, we got food. If we're doing this, we're doing that. If you need a sweater, I got you a sweater. Whatever it is, screw the social norms. Screw what they tell us to do. We are humans. So as these months unfold, I can see what that, what that's meaning, what that is. And they end with this. You have a choice to fear or to mend your broken heart. And then they say this, and this brings me back to uh it's time, folks, right? Because they said it is time to no longer reflect, but to come together as one. They're kind of bringing you back to that. You have a choice to fear or to mend your broken heart. And then they say this, and this is not a hypothetical nor rhetorical. They don't even leave it with a question mark. This is a statement for everybody to chew on. How can you be broken when you are part of everything mighty and known? I'm going to say that again. I mean, that's when you just go, hot damn, Akashic, that's right. You are part of all infinite potentialities. I'm going to read that again. How can you be how can how can you be broken when you are part of everything mighty and known? Creation itself. Creation itself. That vibration that is holding you together as matter in this density. That vibration that is the light being that you are. That vibration of the creation is you. You just think you're different because it's so damn dense here. You ain't special. You are attached to all that is and ever will be. It's not even about you. But if you need to have a little boost and say, yeah, I'm not broken, you're not because you are attached to everything that is mighty and known. Can you take that in, please? Mighty and known. What do you even think that means? This is for you. And that's their words. How can you be broken when you are part of everything mighty and known? Creation itself, love, vibration itself, all of it, like creation. There ain't nothing more mighty than creation, by the way, in my opinion. But that's what I want to ask y'all. Leave a comment below. Tell us, for you, what do you think that means for you? Everything mighty and known. What do you think that means? Because that's what you're part of. You're a part of everything mighty and known. So you should maybe ask yourself that. Sorry, I'm being real cute, but that's my personality. I'm rolling with the times, folks. I roll with the times. I roll with everything. And you can roll with me if you want. You can roll with me. Choose your path of righteousness now. Y'all, that just means to be right minded. Right minded. Just be right minded. As in, make good choices and decisions. Do the right thing. Just do the right thing. Uh, I'm going to finish reading this, and I think I'm going to leave on that note. Choose your path of righteousness now for the people, for the earth, for the source of light is the most power of all. Let go, be you, stand without hesitation or boundaries. That means stop putting boundaries on yourself, you limitless being. Stop having that self doubt that blocks you from helping others. And not in a sick way, not in a look at me way. Look at what, or the woe is me way, right? Choose your path of righteousness now. For the people, for the earth, for the source of light is the most power of all. Let go, be you, stand without hesitation or boundaries. When it says choose your path of righteousness now, I have to say, when I talk, I sometimes, I wonder how people interpret, because everybody interprets differently. And I often will stress, like, hey, it's not about you. Hey, put your boots on. We got to get into some action, right? We're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that. And, live righteously. I have a feeling that people take that kind of like all the stuff that I've said today, instead of, feeling inspired, instead of feeling that they are mighty, you know, they tend to go, oh my goodness, that's a lot. Oh my goodness, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to care for others? And she's talking about the totality of things. I can barely handle my life and my kids and my family and blah, blah, blah. How am I supposed to? Beloveds, it's not hard. That is the ego telling you that everything is way too big for you to handle. And that's bullshit. That's just the ego. That's the ego protecting itself, saying selfish, selfish, selfish. We can't handle none of this. That's bullshit because it's actually very easy. It's actually very easy. It's not in a sacrificial way. It's not in an arrogant way. It's not in a martyr way. It's not in any of those ways. To do the right thing is to lay down the fears. To do the right thing is to show up. We do what we can, when we can, and we don't worry about which way it flows. Can you show up every single time? No. That's also a part of righteousness, to have the discernment as to, I'm able to do this, I'm able to do that, I need time for me, all of it. Righteousness is choosing rightly, having the discernment. That does not mean any of that sick stuff that people tend to attach to what is being said. Not at all. You smile at people. You help, your neighbor. You make a phone call. You do what you can when you can, and you don't worry about which way it flows. I'm just wanting to end on that because this message should have inspired. It should not have caused fear. It should, hopefully it doesn't cause fear, but that was never the intent for fear, for even more selfishness, like, oh, I better stock up on stuff. Let's remind everybody. I love all when people stock up on things because again, yours is not of your own. That is black magic. So when I did this reading on Sunday for somebody and I had to get more clarification on June to even answer their question for July, they I mean, in my answer to them, I even had to say, "Hey, man, you don't have to stock up really. That is not the issue. Selfishness is the issue." So, to do rightly, to be righteous, is to make those healthy, wonderful, right decisions not based in fear. And that's it. And we show up for ourselves and others, and we do what we can when we can, and we don't worry about which way it flows. That's it. That's it. That's all we got to do. So, don't make this bigger than it is. Man, the ego, the self, it really tries to make everything very big, and it's very simple. Everything is actually always very simple. There is no separation. The earth is definitely going to start showing us her power. This is the rise of the native, and we are going to be forced into unity if we like it or not. I love it. I love it, by the way. So I will actually end on leaving, or I will leave reading Crazy Horse's remarks one more time. And I see that Seeker came in. Good to see you, my dear Lori. Thank you for sticking with the show today. I hope all enjoy. Leave a thumbs up if you can, if you did enjoy. If your finger is free to press the little thumbs up button. And let us know below, for you, what is mighty and known? Because that is attached to you. You are part of that. So I will read the prophecy of Crazy Horse one more time. Upon suffering, beyond suffering. So upon this suffering, but beyond suffering as we know it. We've all been here before, though, folks. We got to remember. Allow the awareness and the memories to just be present. Upon suffering, beyond suffering, the red nation shall rise again, and it shall be a blessing for the sick world. A world filled with broken promises, selfishness, and separations. A world longing for the light again. I see a time of 7 generations when all the colors of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole earth will become one circle again. In that day, there will be those among the Lakota who will carry knowledge and understanding of unity among all living things. And the young white ones will come to those of my people and ask for this wisdom. I salute the light within your eyes, where the whole universe dwells. For when you are at that center within you, I am at that place within me. We shall be as one. That was Crazy Horse. So, beloveds, I love you all so much. Share this out. Patrons, again, you will get more details on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you're new here to Stars of the Morning Light, welcome. I am Courtney, the host. I'm sure you noticed a lot of my personality in this message. So I am of love for all, for I am as you are. You are as I am. It is as we are. Cheers, everybody. Peace. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys.